All right, today we're diving into something that, on the surface, might seem a little, well, boring, a chemical log sheet. But stick with me because I'm going to show you how this simple piece of paper is actually a critical blueprint for safety, for accountability, and really for excellence. Let's get into it.
So you look at this and you see a blank form, right? Just a bunch of empty boxes. But what if I told you that this form tells a story? With every single entry, you're writing another chapter in a much bigger narrative. A story all about precision, safety, and taking responsibility. This is way more than just tracking stuff. It's about creating a rock-solid history of doing things the right way. So, first things first, let's get one thing straight. This log, it's not just another tedious task to check off a list. It is a safety blueprint. We're about to dig into the why behind the what, to really understand how every single field on this form is a deliberate step toward preventing accidents and protecting your equipment. And here's the magic of it. Every little piece of information you enter, from the date all the way to that final signature, builds this clear, unbroken chain of accountability. Filling this out correctly isn't just about good practice. It's at the very core of professional integrity and operational safety.
Okay, let's start at the very top of the form. Before we can track a single action, we have to set the scene. This first section is all about context, because let's be real, without knowing the where and the on what, the rest of the data is pretty much meaningless.
It all starts with two absolutely essential identifiers, the location and the equipment ID. Location tells us exactly where the work is being done. The equipment ID pinpoints the specific machine. Think about it. If a problem pops up weeks or even months down the road, this is what lets you trace everything back. It's the foundation for any and all future diagnostics. All right, now we're getting to the heart of it, the table, where all the action is tracked. This is where the story really gets written. It's a step-by-step record where every single detail of handling these chemicals has to be logged with absolute precision. The best way to think about it is as a simple 5-step process for a perfect entry. First, you pinpoint the date. Second, you identify the exact chemical. 3, you measure what goes in. 4, you measure what comes out. And finally, number 5, you initial your work. See, it's a totally logical flow that makes sure nothing important gets missed. So step 1, the date, seems almost too simple, right? But this is your very first mark of accountability. It's way more than just a timestamp. It's the official start of an auditable record. It anchors the entire entry in a specific moment in time. Next up, the chemical name. And let me be clear, being precise here is totally non-negotiable. Are you dealing with ammonia, freon, a specific oil like Fric-3? You have to name the exact substance. It's absolutely critical for safety, for compliance, and for understanding how the system is performing. There is zero room for being vague here. Okay, and this is where things get really interesting. We've got two columns side by side. Quantity added versus quantity recovered. Added is what you put into the system. Recovered is what you might take out, maybe during a service or repair. These two numbers sitting right next to each other tell an incredibly powerful story. Which leads to the big question, why does the difference between these two numbers matter so much? Well, think about it. If you add, say, 10 gallons of something, but you only recover 8, where did those other 2 gallons go? That could be a leak. And that's not just an efficiency problem. It's a huge safety hazard, an environmental issue, and could lead to massive fines. So this comparison, it's like a health check for your entire system. The last step in making the entry is the added by column. This is so much more than just scribbling your initials. This is your signature of responsibility. It's your personal guarantee saying, I did this work, I vouch for this data, and I stand by it. It is a true mark of professional ownership. But, numbers don't always tell the whole story, do they? That's where this next section comes in. The comment section is where you get to add that critical context. It's where you capture the little details and observations. It's the real story behind the numbers. Just look at this example. A simple note like, slight oil residue found on suction line valve, it might seem like a tiny detail, but this is exactly the kind of clue that can help a technician down the line spot a developing problem before it turns into a catastrophic failure. This is what preventative maintenance looks like in the real world. All right, we're almost at the end of the form. We get to the bottom, and this is where we close the loop. This last part is all about verification and final accountability, because the job isn't truly finished until it's been properly reviewed and signed off on. And here are those final checkpoints: the reviewed by initial and the reviewed date. The reviewer, who is often a supervisor, provides that crucial second set of eyes. And they're not just scanning for blank spots. They are confirming that the work meets all the required standards. This is what completes that chain of accountability we talked about. So really, this final sign-off isn't just a signature. It's a confirmation of teamwork. It reinforces a culture of shared responsibility, where every single person is committed to doing things safely and accurately. It's a powerful statement that says, around here, we do things right and we always check our work. So after all that, we can see that this log tracks chemicals, it tracks quantities, it tracks dates, but what does it really build? It builds trust. It builds a permanent record of safety. It builds a culture of accountability that protects people, equipment, and the environment. And that, right there, is a story worth telling.